Sarah gazed at her mug of coffee, observing the froth gradually melting away into oblivion, much like her excitement for this whole night. She had consented to this setup date solely because her closest friend Maya had nearly pleaded with her, swearing that Marcus was unique, that he was compassionate, that he possessed a wonderful spirit. Yet here she was, seated opposite him in this softly illuminated café. Sarah sensed only the usual burden of letdown draping over her like a thick blanket she couldn't shake loose. It wasn't that Marcus was rude or disagreeable, in fact, he was the reverse. He was courteous, articulate, and had gentle eyes that wrinkled at the edges when he grinned. But Sarah had constructed barriers so tall around her emotions that even the softest person couldn't climb them. If this tale is warming your soul already, please, tap that like icon, leave a note down there with your reflections and join Kindness Pulse for additional uplifting narratives that highlight the wonder in surprising instances. 3 years had gone by since her partner had departed, abandoning her solitary in the home they were meant to occupy eternally, and she had vowed to herself she would never be that exposed again. Marcus was discussing his job. As a primary school instructor, his tone lively and enthusiastic as he recounted his pupils' recent mischief. Sarah nodded automatically, providing suitable grins and replies, but her thoughts were already plotting her departure plan. She would complete her coffee, offer a courteous reason about an early work appointment, and then she would return to her secure, foreseeable, alone existence. As Marcus stopped to drink from his beverage, Sarah spotted a change in his look, a hint of anxiety, a minor shake in his hand as he placed the cup back. He gently cleared his throat and uttered something that surprised her entirely. "I ought to point out," he started, his voice softer now, nearly unsure. "I have a 7-year-old girl. Her name is Lily. Her mom died 2 years back from cancer, and it's only been us two ever since." The statement lingered in the space between them, and Sarah sensed something fracture in the stronghold she had erected around herself. She noticed the openness in his gaze, the dread of dismissal that echoed her own, and for the initial moment that night, she truly saw him. This wasn't merely some arbitrary guy her friend had arranged for her. This was a dad attempting to reconstruct his world while respecting the remembrance of someone he had cherished and lost. This was an individual who comprehended sorrow, who recognized what it meant to rise each day and decide to persist despite the load of emptiness. Sarah discovered herself inclining ahead, truly curious now, inquiring about Lily, about their coping, about what it felt like to serve as both mom and dad to a small child exploring life without her mother. Marcus's whole attitude shifted as he described his child. His expression brightened with an affection so genuine and deep that Sarah felt moisture gathering at the edges of her eyes. He shared about Lily's fascination with prehistoric creatures, her routine of placing messages around the home declaring him the greatest father in the entire world, and how she still cuddled with her mom's former sweater because it helped her feel near to her. The further Marcus spoke, the more Sarah felt the frost around her emotions starting to melt, drop by agonizing drop. The night extended beyond what Sarah had intended, and she caught herself chuckling, truly chuckling, for the first occasion in many months. When Marcus proposed they extend their discussion over a meal at his home, noting that his sibling was presently caring for Lily and wouldn't object to remaining longer, Sarah astonished herself by accepting. The trip to his residence was packed with easy dialogue and mutual music selections, and Sarah felt something unknown awakening in her chest, something that seemed perilously near to optimism. Marcus's house was simple but inviting, with colored sketches adorning the fridge and an assortment of plush toys positioned neatly on the family room sofa. They had barely begun making the meal together when they heard the entrance unlock. His sibling's voice shouted a hello followed by the patter of tiny steps rushing down the corridor. Sarah turned toward the sound just as a small child with untamed curly locks and her dad's gentle eyes dashed into the cooking area. Lily halted abruptly when she spotted Sarah, her jaw dropping in amazement. For a second nobody stirred. Then Lily's face erupted into the most radiant grin Sarah had ever witnessed, and she aimed straight at her with a quivering finger. "Daddy," she yelled, jumping on her feet with uncontrollable joy. "Daddy, it's her, it's the woman from your nighttime tale, the one with the mournful gaze who lost her ability to grin." Sarah's air stuck in her throat as she glanced at Marcus, whose cheeks had flushed deep crimson. He bent down to his child's height, attempting to softly quiet her, but Lily was undeterred. "You mentioned every evening that you were hoping for someone extraordinary," Lily went on, her tone brimming with youthful awe and total assurance. "Someone who knew about feeling down, someone who had to recall that joyful conclusions exist. You said she would have eyes like a stormy afternoon but a soul prepared for brightness. Daddy, that's her. Moisture was flowing down Sarah's cheeks now, and she couldn't have halted it if she wanted. Marcus rose gradually, his own eyes shimmering with feeling, and gazed at Sarah with a look of such soft aspiration that it demolished the final barrier around her emotions. He had been sharing with his child tales about her, not her exactly perhaps, but about someone precisely like her. He had been instructing his child that damaged spirits could mend, that individuals bearing loss could discover happiness again, that affection was valuable, the chance even after heartbreaking defeat. Before we reach the lovely conclusion, if you're moved by this narrative, remember to like this clip and join Kindness Pulse. Pass this tale to someone who requires it today. Lily dashed to Sarah and seized her hand with the bold assurance that only kids have. Will you remain for the meal? She inquired, gazing up at Sarah with such sincere expectation that refusing was out of the question. I can display my prehistoric collection, and Daddy prepares excellent pasta, and perhaps you can assist me create a tale too. Sarah looked from Lily to Marcus and then back to Lily, and for the first time in 3 years, she permitted herself to trust in potential again. I would adore staying for the meal, she murmured, pressing the small girl's hand. That night, gathered around a table topped with prehistoric mats and very plates, exchanging pasta and anecdotes and giggles, Sarah grasped something meaningful. Sometimes the most remarkable romance tales don't start with sparks and intensity. They start with two wounded individuals discovering the bravery to be open, with a small child who trusts in enchantment, and with the readiness to believe that perhaps, just perhaps, joyful conclusions are genuine after all. Keep in mind, recovery doesn't follow our schedule, and affection frequently comes in the most unforeseen times. Remain receptive to the opportunities, even when your spirit feels burdened. You never know when your tale might shift in a wonderful way.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a twist. Stay tuned to Reddit Tales Times for your daily dose of drama, laughs, and unbelievable stories.